Well, good morning, everyone. In this fashion-forward town, there's a hot color for every season, but I think it's fair to say this fall there's no question what the hottest color in New York is, and it is apple green. And that is the color, as you know, of our new borough taxis, which more and more are becoming a common sight on our streets. We've been gradually rolling out these cabs since August, and I'm happy to say that today there are more than 1,000 borough taxis on the road. We were authorized to issue 6,000. They went virtually overnight. There is a long waiting list. The law does not let us issue more until next June. But if there was ever a demand that showed itself when there was a little bit of supply, it is this. For too long, 4.5 out of our 5 boroughs did not have taxi service. And now they do, and it has turned out to be successful, not just for the people who drive the cabs and own them. They claim they make a lot more money. They're very happy, but also for the public who we are here to serve. Before borough taxis, as you know, it was virtually impossible to legally hail a cab in neighborhoods that a vast majority of New Yorkers call home. About 95% of yellow cab pickups in New York City are in Manhattan below 96th Street or at the city's 2 airports. The traditional livery cabs available outside of those areas, as you know, were not legally allowed to pick up street hails. And they don't have features like yellow cabs do, like meters and credit card readers and roof lights and a uniform color that makes it easy to distinguish legal licensed taxis. Our green borough taxi addresses, we think, all of those issues. And as I said, it has just turned out to be a huge success. The 6,000 borough taxi licenses that we've already issued include 1,200 wheelchair accessible licenses. Nearly 300,000 trips have already been taken in borough taxis just since August when they were rolled out. That is an average of something like 3,100 trips a day and rising, for a total of almost 1 million miles traveled to date. And you can see from the map over here where these trips have been so far. Each green dot represents a borough taxi pickup. And we can monitor that because they have GPS in them. And so if you were to lose your luggage, for example, we can track down the taxi just like we do with yellow cabs. And that's proved to be something that's very popular as well. It also lets us measure traffic. When people say traffic is fast, traffic is slow, that just depends on whether you took the left turn or the right turn or that one point in time. But if you want to measure it over a long period of time, the computer takes a look at all of the trips, thousands of them, that go from one place to another, some of which were good trips, some of which went in the wrong direction, some of which had traffic tie-ups or Con Ed digging up the streets or whatever. And you can average it all together, and you can get real solid numbers as to whether or not traffic is better or worse. And you can't rely on just one person's experience to set your traffic patterns. This really will give us the ability to improve the roads throughout all 5 boroughs. We estimate that all 6,000 of this year's licenses will be on the road by March. The Taxi and Limousine Commission will then make another 6,000 licenses available next June and another 6,000 in June of 2015. And that's great news for cab hailers and for drivers as well. Borough taxi drivers are making more money, they claim, and providing better service in a better working environment. And they no longer have to make illegal pickups, and that's safer for everyone. Borough taxis will also make it easier than ever for New Yorkers with disabilities to get around town. By June of 2016, there will be at least 3,600 wheelchair-accessible green cabs on our streets, and that is in addition to the 2,000 new taxi medallions for wheelchair-accessible yellow cabs that the state authorized the city to sell in June. The sale of those new yellow taxi medallions will also generate up to $1 billion in city revenues. There were attempts to bring borough taxi service to the city for nearly 40 years, but I think it's fair to say special interests stood in the way. Our administration was determined to finally make it a reality, and I think the dividends are now paying off. Green cabs are just one of the new transportation improvements we brought to the city this year. Last week, we announced that city bike riders have logged more than 5 million trips, totaling 10 million miles in just 5 months since we began the service. That's another ways to mass transit, to get around. City bikes are designed to take short trips between 2 defined spots, not for recreation, although people really enjoy using them, But these are two new, totally unpaid for by the state and the federal government and the city methods of people getting to and from where they want to go. Both of these programs, I think, show what's possible when we work together and think boldly to make the city an even greater place to live. So now let me turn the floor over to our Taxi and Limousine Commissioner, David Yassky. David.
Thank you, Mayor Bloomberg. Mayor Bloomberg pretty much covered the substance of this. Two short things I will add. One is that we now have up on our website at nyc.gov a tool that will allow people to propose locations for taxi stands, borough taxi stands in the boroughs. We expect that in a lot of places the borough taxis will operate not just by cruising, but by waiting at transit hubs or outside BAM or Barclays Center and other popular locations like that. So nyc.gov proposed a borough taxi stand. It was the same tool that we've used so successfully to locate the city bike stands. We also now have on our website a list of the car service companies that have wheelchair accessible borough taxis affiliated with them. Every one of the borough taxis, part of what makes it a distinctive service, is that they can not only pick up off the street, but they can also accept call-ahead, perform call-ahead service. Before now, if you were in a wheelchair, you really had no way to call a car company and get transportation. With these cars, you will. And our website will offer a list of the bases you can call to do that. Mr. Mayor, I just want to thank the extraordinary team at the Taxi Limousine Commission that has made this and everything that we've accomplished possible. For an agency of our size, we really have no business having the kind of extraordinary talent that we do. And I just want to mention the leadership team that is here, the Chief Operating Officer, Conan Freud. Before a couple of years ago, you couldn't do anything online at TLC. Now you can renew your license, you can pay your fees and all that stuff. Gary Weiss, who runs our licensing center, wait times at that licensing center are down by a third, which saves people a ton of time, as Beta Vita Sai and her clients, her customers know. Ray Scanlon, who runs our inspection garage and our enforcement division, which we've also automated. And people were writing tickets on summons pads. Now they're using handheld devices like any normal modern place. And our general counsel, I know, is here, Mira Zoshi, wherever she is. And two more are kind of policy brain trust, Ashwini Chhabra, our Deputy Commissioner for Policy, and Emily Gaio, my Chief of Staff. And I just want to thank them publicly. Mr. Mayor, thank you for indulging me. And last, I want to publicly thank you for the opportunity to serve. I was reminded this morning that when I joined the City Council and you were elected mayor, I saw a quote from you to the effect that what you thought would be distinctive about your administration was that you would take on challenges, not seek to avoid responsibility for decisions, but seek to assume it. And being able to serve in an administration where that is the guiding ethic has been an unparalleled privilege. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And thank you for the job you've done. Next, we are joined by our Commissioner for the Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities, Victor Calise. Victor?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Bloomberg. I appreciate everything that you've done to push this effort forward in getting more accessible taxis on the street and everything that you do. So thank you. David, thank you for everything that you do in working with our office to ensure that accessibility issues are being met, working with our disabled advocates like Edith Prentice and George Gago here who are on board all the time and trying to find creative ways to make things accessible. And today's a great day for accessibility. The mayor just pointed out that there's going to be $1 billion in these 2,000 accessible cabs being sold. To say that money is not going to be made from disability is simply not true. So today, that is really, really something that we're excited for. And we're really on the path to accessibility. And more and more accessible taxis are hitting the street. That's what we want to see. The mayor's office with people with disabilities, my deputy commissioner, Jason Michelle, is constantly working with TLC to make sure that everything is being instituted from the dispatch service to the accessible taxi training and all that. So I want to thank you, Mayor Bloomberg, TLC, and the disabled advocates for making this happen. And we're looking forward to getting in the streets and taking those accessible cabs.
Good, thank you. Next up, Sarah Angelis, head of the Livery Based Owners Association. Sarah.
Thank you, Mayor Bloomberg. Good morning. Today is a great day for all New Yorkers, a day in which we welcome, for the first time, 6,000 permits sold and 6,000 drivers that will no longer have to fear hefty fines, that will no longer have to stress while they service our communities. We no longer have to hear the tale of two cities, one with exclusive privileges in the Central District of residents, their residents, and tourists. That privilege has been extended to the other boroughs. And for that, we thank Mayor Bloomberg, Governor Cuomo, Commissioner Yassky, the livery-based owners, the coalition that we formed with drivers, bases, and the leaders who recognized that we needed to bring equal service, legal and accessible to all of us. This is a win-win for our businesses and for the drivers, a milestone. We are eager to continue to service all New Yorkers and expand the opportunities of drivers and bases, the economic stabilities for their families, as we work towards the next mission to complete the process of legalizing our industry. Hoy es un gran día. Muy buenos días. Un gran día para nosotros. Todos los neoyorquinos nos sentimos orgullosos de darle la bienvenida a 6,000 nuevos choferes que están legales en las calles, que no tienen que esconderse, que no tienen que tener miedo ni de la TLC ni de la policía. Nosotros nunca más seremos como la historia de las dos ciudades. Una ciudad del Distrito Central donde existen los privilegios para los residentes y los turistas, pero no existían los privilegios para nuestros condados. Esto simplemente ha extendido el servicio a todos los neoyorquinos. Le ha dado la oportunidad a todo el mundo a tener acceso legal, asequible, a proveerle estabilidad económica a nuestros choferes, a nuestras familias, a darle una mejor oportunidad a nuestras bases. Y por eso le damos las gracias al alcalde Bloomberg, al comisionado David Yassky, al gobernador Cuomo, a todos los dueños de bases, a todos los choferes que dijeron que había que hacer un cambio. Y nosotros vamos a trabajar, vamos a continuar trabajando en un esfuerzo mancomunado con nuestras comunidades para poder seguirle proveyendo un servicio legal, para ver la emisión completa de todos los permisos y continuar en el desarrollo de nuestra industria en el proceso de legalización. Muchísimas gracias.
And Assemblyman Joe Loda. Joe?
Joe Loda.
Oh, what is, I didn't say it. Oh, did I say that, really?
It's okay. It's Lentol.
Lentol.
It's like Loda,
Loda.
but only I'm a Democrat.
That's interesting. Well, you and he have a lot in common, same height, you know.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, for the kind introduction. So I'm going to return the favor by saying that we're blessed to be in these wonderful studios, partly because of Mayor Bloomberg, partly because of Governor Cuomo, and partly because of David Yassky and Joe Lentol, because of the tax credit that the mayor had the foresight for developing in New York State, New York City, as well as the state of New York, that I was proud to introduce. And otherwise, we'd be outside in the cold doing this press conference. Mayor Bloomberg, you have shown once again, just like you have on our Williamsburg and Greenpoint waterfront, your foresight for the future. And also your pick of David Yassky, who used to represent this area in the council, who understands very well, as you do, the different modes of transportation that we have now that we never had before. We have more people who are pedestrians. We have more people on bicycles. We have people in wheelchairs. And we also have now the opportunity for the people in the outer boroughs to hail a cab. How is that happen? How did that happen? That's a real accomplishment that I've lived for a long time and never thought that my constituents would be able to hail a cab because, you know, as we used to say in the old days, the yellow cabs were yellow, but they weren't really yellow in sense of being cowards. They just wanted to make a lot more money by staying in Manhattan. And now we have an opportunity for the outer boroughs to also have the same kind of modes of transportation that exists in Manhattan. And by the way, you should know that you're in Williamsburg, which is probably the hottest spot in Brooklyn. And it's also my district. And it's actually appropriate that we do this here because you're going to get more hails here than you're going to get anywhere because of the activity and the density of population that exists now in Williamsburg. And I'm going to tell you that it wouldn't be a bad idea for the next round of green cabs, green borough taxis, for all 6,000 of those permits to be issued in Brooklyn. But nevertheless, if we can't do that, I just want to end by saying that both commissioners have spoke brilliantly about the success of this and how it's a success for everybody. I don't like to say the word win-win. It's a success. It's our success. And we will build on this success by doing even more. And if I was proud to vote for the legislation when it passed in Albany, and I'll be proud to vote for additional legislation, even if it's under a new mayor, saying it, if we can expand this type of program. So again, I congratulate all of you, and especially Mayor Bloomberg.
Joe, thank you. And it is true, if you had not done the tax credit, that would not have happened if we didn't get support for this program. And if you remember, it was always very controversial. Nobody wanted to ever change. The yellow cabs wanted to protect their lives and their income. And I understand that. I just looked up, there's a company, TAXI, a publicly traded company that owns taxi medallions. In this year, it's up 60%. So for all of the new yellow taxi medallions coming out, the medallions are worth an awful lot more. They must be making even more money. This is good for everybody. It's good for the green cabs. It's good for the yellow cabs. And as Joe pointed out, most importantly, it's good for the people of New York City. Let me thank Cinemagic Riverfront Studios for letting us use their soundstage today. Let me summarize our announcement in Spanish. Nuestro plan de taxis en los 5 condados ha por primera vez traído más opciones para neoyorquinos en cada condado. Ahora tenemos más de 1,000 taxis verdes en nuestras calles. And before taking questions, let me just, on a very serious note, say that our thoughts and prayers remain with the people of the Philippines today. The typhoon that struck this weekend was devastating and heartbreaking. It really hit home for our city's strong Filipino community, and we are accepting donations for relief efforts through the Mayor's Fund to Advance New York City. All contributions will be directed to reputable organizations that are providing relief on the ground in the Philippines. And if you would like to make a donation or learn more, call 311 or visit nyc.gov. People from around the world have always been with us when we needed help, and we've got to make sure that we're there when they need it. And I know New Yorkers are not hesitant to show their support for our friends in the Philippines. We'll be happy to take some questions.